Hey everybody, welcome back. Hollywoodpizza here. We've got a pretty spicy deck for you today. We've got mono red treasures. So essentially the deck is built around two cards that do take advantage of treasures, which is Magda. 2 mana for a 2/1. Other dwarves get +1/+0. That's somewhat irrelevant in this deck. But whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, so essentially just Magda, you get to create a treasure token. And then you can sacrifice 5 treasure tokens to go get either an artifact card or a dragon card. So in our deck specifically, we're trying to get some dragons, whether it be Leyline Tyrant from Zendikar Rising, a mythic, a 4 mana 4/4 with flying. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end, and when it dies, you can pay any amount of red mana to have it deal that much damage to any target. Etsushi, a 1 of, 2 colorless, 2 red for a 4/4 flying trample. When it dies, you get to choose one. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You can play those cards or create three treasures. So essentially, if the card dies, you're kind of like ramping a little bit there. And our old school favorite, which kind of just ties the deck together, is Goldspan Dragon. 3 colorless, 2 red, 4/4 flying haste. Whenever it attacks or becomes a target of a spell, you get to create a treasure, and then your treasures sack for 2 mana of any one color rather than 1. The card that helps to take advantage of treasures as well, which is a new addition from Streets of New Capenna, is Professional Facebreaker, 2 colorless and a red for a 2/3 with menace. Whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to create a treasure token, and then you can sacrifice a treasure to exile the top card of your library and play that card this turn. So essentially, you can keep your spells flowing with Professional Facebreaker. Kind of take advantage of the fact that sometimes you may end up getting a little bit treasure heavy with the gold spans or the Magdas if you're coming in, or even just a Facebreaker itself, concerning that anytime that you connect with the creature to a player, you get to make a treasure, which could end up ramping you even more if you have a gold span out, and so on and so forth. Essentially, we also have Goldhound, which is a treasure itself. So Goldhound, 1 mana 1/1 first strike menace. Just sacrifice it to add a mana of any color. Essentially kind of just helps ramp us to our 3 drops like the Professional Facebreaker. But included in the deck for value, we have Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, 2 colorless and a red. The first part of this saga, you get to make a 2/2 red Shaman Goblin token with whenever it attacks, you make a treasure token. Second part, you get to discard a couple cards, up to a couple cards, and then draw that many. And the last part is you get to flip it into this Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, which lets you copy any target non-legendary creature. And then at the end of the turn, you get to sacrifice it. But it does have haste. So essentially, it's really good with the gold span, where you can copy the gold span, make multiple copies of it, and just start to make a lot more treasures, which you can in turn use to go get other dragons, or even get some cards off the top of your library to keep your spells going. It's also really good with Leyline Tyrant, where you can copy your Leyline Tyrant and kind of just keep dealing your opponent damage every turn for however much mana you have. On top of that, we have a few additional other red creatures here. In Reckless Stormseeker, a classic red card here, 2 colorless and a red for a 2/3 at the beginning of combat on your turn. Any creature gets +1/+0 and haste, and then when it flips, instead that creature gets +2/+0 and gains trample and haste. So, really powerful card. You can also give your Reflection of Kiki-Jiki haste, which is a cool trick, especially, you know, if you're waiting for it to flip, it flips, and then you can kind of just give it haste and start copying some of your other creatures that are more powerful. To kind of round out the creatures here, we have Dragonkin Berserker, a colorless and a red for a 2/2 first strike. It actually has Boast, 4 colorless and a red. So whenever it attacks, you can activate the Boast ability to create a 5/5 dragon, and the ability also costs 1 less for each dragon control, so it can kind of help us get something down early. Later in the game, when you're attacking with it, you can get more dragons, and then the dragons that we already have could potentially make this ability even cheaper, and then you can kind of just start making a lot of attackers in the air, and then even copying them with the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. We have a few removal spells here that kind of help us out a bit. We have 3 Dragon's Fire, which deals 3 damage, or if you reveal or control a dragon, you could choose to have that much damage equal to the dragon's power dealt to that creature or planeswalker. We also have Flame Blessed Bolt, which is a red instant. It deals 2 damage to a creature or a planeswalker, and then if that permanent would die, it gets exiled instead. So that's just great exile, especially considering there's a lot of Tenacious Underdogs and or some other cards that could potentially reanimate or get back cards from the graveyard. Shatterskull Smashing, just a great card overall with a lot more mana from our treasure producers here. We can essentially kind of just kill two somewhat relevantly decent sized bodies with it. So just a great card overall. Always happy to have Shatterskull Smashing, and can also double up as a land. Speaking of lands, our lands here, we have 4 Den of the Bugbear, which is just an all-star in a deck like this. Kind of help you get some reach. Just help you go a little bit wide. We also have 19 Mountains and a Sokenzan, Crucible of Defiance, which is fine as a one-of. It helps you get a couple 1/1s later in the game, especially if that's something that you need. Kind of just help give you some reach. Or keep going wide between this and the Den of the Bugbear. For a sideboard, we have 2 Abrades for anything that's Chariot or Artifact related. Or in case we need some additional removal spells for anything that we may want to kill that's 3 toughness. We have 3 Burning Hands here for anything that we want to kill that's either a green card, or if we need to bring in just some other targeted removal spells every once in a while, even if it's something that, we know they're going to have a lot of toughness, 2 toughness cards, and we're going to be able to kill them. But either way, this card's just great against any type of green deck. We have 3 Cemetery Gatekeepers, which essentially the main purpose of these is for runes, where, you get to kill one of their creatures, you exile one of their enchantments, and then if they try to go off with the runes, then they're just taking a lot of damage. And it also has First Strike, not a bad body. If you're also playing against like a control deck or any deck that plays a lot of spells, this card is also fantastic. We have 4 Rolling Vortexes for anything that gains life, or it also can help kind of like speed up the clock as it deals a damage every turn to both players, but usually you're being aggressive with your cards, so the Rolling Vortex can end up adding to that and help close the game out sooner. And that extra ability of not letting your opponent gain life is fantastic. That other ability of whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent, it deals 5 damage to that player, is actually not bad, considering there are fight rigging decks running around, or potentially other ways to cast any free spells. Kind of just shuts that down. We also have 3 Burn Down the House to get rid of any Ob Nixiluses that may be around, or any decks that may kind of be a little bit wider, faster than us, or could even bring it in if we need those 3 Devil tokens to kind of speed up the clock against any specific decks. Like, let's say we don't necessarily need like the Flame Blessed Bolts or the Dragon's Fire, so even bringing in like 1 or 2 of these isn't bad, or even substituting those cards for Rolling Vortex is also fantastic sometimes, where kind of just trying to kill your opponent as fast as you can. But I definitely enjoy this deck in the games that we played. You're going to see some grindy games, some fast games as well, kind of like a variety here. We did get to play a few different types of decks as well, so that's always great. But we got a tournament this Sunday. It's going to be standard. I actually think this deck's pretty good deck to choose for that, considering that you can kind of get under some more of the slower decks, and even have some mid to late game with some of these dragons, the professional face breakers, the Magdas. Just a lot of like mid game here that has a lot of power to it. And our sideboard is actually really good and somewhat tuned against most of the decks that you're going to see in the meta. So I still think that this deck's just great overall if you're going to have something to choose for this Sunday standard event. But definitely check that out. It's free to play. All the links to my content and the tournaments in the description below. And enjoy the video. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Maybe we can get a good opening hand. Ooh, kind of rough. A little bit too many lands here. Okay, this is definitely keepable though. I think we'll go ahead and get rid of a Gold Hound. So we can play a Gold Hound into a Magda. Actually, we can almost get the Stormseeker down first. Don't know if that's worth it though. Ooh, okay, Azusa's. So it is going to gain them some life. I think I'm actually just going to get the Magda down and attack for 1. We can actually cast Goldspan next turn off of the Magda. Gaining some life is a problem. They have Fable here. We can still kill the Kikijiki, which is nice. Let's see if they block. Okay, they're just going to take it. We could cast the Goldspan. Yeah, I think we're just going to do it post-combat. No reason not to. Just ramp us out a little bit. And they're going to flip the Fable. So we do have an answer to Fable. We'll see if they have an answer to the Gold Span here. Let's see. I had a feeling they were going to attack. Do they just have Shatter Skull smashing? I'm going to make them just have Shatter Skull and tap out on their turn. Let's see if they have it. Oh, that is actually worse. That's really bad. Was not expecting that at all. So let's cast this. Pump it up. Attack with the squad. Get our treasures. Kill this with the dragon. Hit them for a lot of damage and then hope that that's enough. I mean, things aren't looking great. They're gonna get some trolls here pretty soon. We're gonna have to hope that this gold span can get us there, or that maybe we get enough treasures to... you know what? I always forget about the Kiki. I'm not gonna lie to you. I guess it'll give them another troll, which is problematic. And it'll have haste. Okay, that's fine. We'll just go get another mountain. Kind of have to block two at the same time. Yep, just gonna pump this up. Coming in for damage. Get some treasures. Yep, completely fine with that. Put this into play tapped. Play a Gold Hound. Pass a turn. If they target the Gold Span, we can go get another Gold Span. Okay. Can also go get a Leyline Tyrant. Okay, they have 2 cards left. It's going to gain them some life next turn. So they're not going to gain life right now. Okay. So we're at 18. Let's see. So we can go get a Leyline Tyrant. I feel like that's fine. Let's just come in with only the Gold Span. Pass a turn here. That's fine. We can still go get a Leyline Tyrant, which deals a lot of damage if we blocked with it. So we can kind of come up with like a surprise block there, block one of their cards, take less damage, and then just kill them with the Leyline Tyrant by using all of our red mana that we had left over there. Do we want anything in particular against them here? Let's think about this. Don't particularly think so. It's burn down the house. I guess like burn down the house could be good as like an insurance card in case they do kind of go off a little bit on us. Yeah, this... like they have Fabled, but... I think I'm okay just having like the Dragon's Fire. And even if things do get out of control, I mean, burn down the house can just kill everything, so it's not a big deal. It's like we're just trading removal for removal anyways, and we're definitely going to keep this hand. Start off with the Gold Hound here. I don't know if we want to play the Facebreaker on turn 2. We'll see what they're up to. Okay, they just have another Azusa, so they are going to gain some life. don't think we want to play this Facebreaker. I think we just want to come in for damage. They're going to gain 3 life, but we know that they don't have a land because they didn't play an extra land for the turn. And it looks like they're actually just going to go ahead and scoop them up. Go ahead and take our victory here. See you next game. Red deck wins. The dragon variety. Let's go. Hope for a good hand here. Okay, we're on the draw, so don't really like that, but I think this hand's actually pretty decent. We're going to keep it. We can start off with the Shadow Skull Smashing tapped unless we draw another land. Ooh. This could be a tough matchup here for us. Runes. We do have Cemetery and the Vortex, which does help against this deck, but yeah, they've already got some life gain on the battlefield, and it looks like they're curving out a lot better than we are. Fortunately, would have wanted that Gold Hound the turn before, just to potentially hit this Fable, which does ramp us as well. Okay, Rune of Might here on the Jukai Naturalist. So things are definitely not looking good. If they do attack with the Visitor, we're going to trade with it. But it looks like they have a Naturalist to buff it up out of trade range here. And opponent's definitely just going to come in with both creatures, no reason not to. We're going to take it here, see what we draw. Another Shadow Skull Smashing. I think we're actually too behind this game to really put up a fight against them. So we want all of our burning hands. Gatekeeper isn't bad. They're playing a lot of enchantments. Maybe we keep Facebreaker. The Stormseeker kind of just a little bit too slow. Or the Dragon's too slow. Maybe do something like this. Keep all of our removal, our ramp spell. Do we want the Rolling Vortex? I mean, if they get lifelink, it seems pretty good. Would we be willing to, what, cut a dragon for it, maybe? And at Sushi. And we'll cut Magda. We can play a couple Vortexes to potentially stop them from gaining life in a turn off of the rune. Let's give that a shot. I mean, in all honesty, this deck is probably a good matchup against it. It's pretty much a good matchup against a lot of things in Standard Alchemy right now. Just anything, pretty much, outside of, like, Historic. Is this hand keepable? Probably not. We don't have any of our removal spells in our opening hand. This has a removal spell. I don't think that we want to go down to 5, honestly, on the play here. So let's go and just keep this hand and see what it does for us. Keep the Shadow Skull Smashing in case we want to just use it as a removal spell on a 1 toughness creature here. They do have a Generous Visitor. We draw a Tyrant. And we'll pass a turn. See what our opponent has here. They could have a tap land. We don't know. Sometimes runes can be a little slow, but it is a very aggressive deck most of the time. If they have a rune, then can just Burning Hands it. If we draw a Cemetery Gatekeeper, then we can actually exile the enchantment. Okay, they have Kami. So let's kill the Kami at Transience. Kill this Generous Visitor. And then potentially cast some dragons. We can go Leyline Dragon into the Goldspan Dragon. They might have a Rune Forge here. Okay, Generous Visitor. No rune to follow it up with, though. Let's go and get Leyline Tyrant down. Pass a turn back. Could also play Stormseeker next turn, pump in the Leyline Tyrant to kind of get a clock actually going. And even float some mana off the Leyline Tyrant to potentially cast some more spells on our following turn. Or even activate this Den of the Bugbear. We've got quite a few options here. So it looks like our opponent's going for a redraw. May even want to trade, honestly, if they get it up to a 4/4. I don't think that I would mind it just because the Runes deck really wants to have its creatures out. Okay, that's a little bit late, but it's okay. Do we just play this and attack? Could float a mana. They have life gain. It seems kind of rough too, but we also can't just sit back. We could float 4 mana. They have 4 cards left. But Bolt doesn't kill anything. Let's say we play Stormspeaker, pump up the Leyline, then they just play like a rune of sustenance, and then they just gain life. It feels pretty bad. I think I'm just going to say go here. Could also like block, shoot something down, use a Flame Blessed Bolt on another thing. Potentially top deck a land for our Goldspan Dragon. Looks like they just have a showdown here. Okay. They do have a Rune of Sustenance and some more enchantments here. Let's see if they attack. If not, then we have double dragons here. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to attack, but I don't know if they're... Okay. Do we block here? I think we do. We don't want their Scalds to get out of control here. So I'm actually okay just tapping out here and just dealing them 4 damage. They do get Kami back, but we do have a way to kill the Kami, so that is going to help. Stormseeker. Let's just Goldspan. Yeah, we're just gonna Goldspan. Can't go just because of Circle Confinement we can't play the Stormseeker. And if they do target the Goldspan, then we'll just get some more treasures. But I think we're just gonna try to kill the Kami of Transience when they target it with the Rune of Sustenance and the Showdown trigger. We also have Den of the Bugbear active, which is great. Or we could... Oh, wow, they're just going to go for a redraw. Okay. I'm actually kind of surprised here. They did hit a land, so if they just play the Kami, then we just kill it and then start to beat down our opponent even more. So they do just tap up for the Kami. Let's see here. So 3. So... Let's see... So we can do that. 4. Yeah, let's just kill this. Even if we're not using all the mana from it, it's fine. Let's just give them a turn to kill us here. Put them down to 4. Play this other den and pass a turn. We also have Stormseeker plus the Den next turn, even if the Goldspan dies. I guess we could end up getting blown out by like a creature with haste here, which does happen with runes. So let's see if that's what our opponent has here. Okay, they just have a showdown. That's not really too crazy. Yeah, it looks like we might just take this home here. They don't have any flying blockers. And just kind of looks like they whiffed a little bit on that one too. And our opponent's going to pack it up. We'll move on to game 3. So... have enough removal. Could almost trade this for a braid, but I kind of just like having it because it exiles a card. I think this is fine. I don't really think we need to make any changes. I guess you could make an argument for burn down the house because it's a board wipe. But most of the time, like, they only really have like 2 creatures and they're just like massively huge. If we're waiting to hit our 5 mana spell and our opponent's just, you know, getting them out of range anyways, having burn down the house doesn't really make a difference. So I think I'd rather just try to snap off my removal spells whenever they're trying to like enchant them or while they're small enough. I think we would potentially kind of have like some threats on the battlefield like we did last game to just get them down to 0. And let's see if our opening hand is good. I think we have to take a mulligan here. We can keep this though. A curve plus removal spells. And they didn't start with a generous visitor this time. Do they have a 2-drop? They do have a Kami of Transience though. That is a problem. Let's get this Magda down. And hope for the best. Okay, they do have some more mana. Looks like they just have a Fabled here, but that is going to become a 3/3. Gonna take the damage here. I'm actually just gonna see if they trade. We can kill the Kami next turn with the Dragon's Fire. Okay, they are going to trade. I think we'll just roll in Vortex and Dragon's Fire. I think I'd rather just like kill this right now. Let's get this down. Hopefully the Stormseeker can help us be a little bit more aggressive. Let's see if they have more creatures. They are probably going to redraw 2 cards here, I'm guessing. Unless their hand is stacked. Okay, they do get a redraw here for 2 cards. See what they have. Looks like they may be going to the tank here. Legion Angel, okay. Kind of a surprising card, I'm not gonna lie. Gold Span doesn't really help us right now. We're coming in. Alright. Obviously, we lose this race because of Vortex, and the fact that they're getting a Fable down is troublesome. So I think that we might go down. We'll see. They have Showdown. Really would like to hit a removal spell. If we hit a land, I mean, we're going to play Gold Span. Okay, we hit our own Fable. That's not terrible. Not the best, though. Pass the turn back to them. Probably going to go grow the Reflections out of, like, burn range. We do have a way to deal with this, at least. Okay, looks like they're just going to get rid of the Rolling Vortex. Yep. We'll go ahead and just use it first, or they're just going to kill the token. Okay, that's fine. They'll probably cast both of the runes to make this Kiki-Jiki, like, massive. Okay, that's fine. I really wish that they had the Jukai almost, just so they'll take 5 off of the runes. That'd be pretty funny. Get a redraw here. So like I said, they're just going to give the Runeforged Champion haste. And I just don't really think there's a way for us to get out of this, just because, well, Once they just start doing this, it's kind of out of control. Okay, just pump that up. We're going to take 6 damage here. Go down to 9. Go down to 8. Do draw the land for the gold span, but fortunately it's just not enough. There's nothing really we can hit to kill this reflection. It's not a green creature, so the Burning Hands doesn't kill it, so we'll see if we can do a little bit better next match. I think Runes is kind of just a tough matchup for a lot of decks in the metagame right now, not just this deck. Let's go. Dragons and Treasures. Red deck. Let's see if we can do this game. Okay. Hey, we're on the play, which is great. Fortunately, our opening hand is not so great. I believe we do have to take a mulligan here. This is a little bit better. Definitely a keepable hand. Maybe the Magda could ramp us into the gold span. We'll see if it survives. We want to keep the removal spell as well. That way we'll be able to interact with anything that our opponent does here. Okay, they could end up being like a Raffine type deck, potentially. Esper, Obscura. Looks like they are. They're just going to exile the Magda here. Yep. We do hit a Fable, which is actually a fantastic draw just because it gives us something on curve. It also gives us a card to potentially hit the gold span on time. Or maybe even activate this creature land. I actually think we can discard the Gold Hound. That's fine. Stormseeker's a pretty good draw. Either way, we're trading with that card. Doesn't really matter. Like, either way, we're trading with it. Doesn't matter if I play this first, doesn't matter if I play it second. Yep, that's fine. They just get rid of a Dragon's Fire. Do have a gold span here, so maybe they'll just keep up a removal spell for the gold span. We do get a flip Fable, which is nice. So getting some value there. Could prolong us here. Okay, that was actually not a bad draw. We would also get a lot more mana for our... Oh, we can't do anything about that, though, unfortunately. Alright, well, we're probably just going to start making copies of Reckless Stormseeker here, which actually isn't really bad. I do sense a meat hook coming. Okay, Raffine. And an Underdog. But we hit a gold span. Yeah, we just gold span here. Copy it. Go to combat. Doesn't really matter. Attack with both of these. Get a couple more treasures. See if we can fight through this Raffine here. They're just going to take the damage. Last card could still be a Meat Hook. We do have a creature land, though. 2 of them. But we can't activate both. Unless we hit 2 more lands. Ooh, that's a really good draw. They're going to go up to 8. They're going to exile the gold span, gain a couple life. And... okay, they're just going to pass it back to us, which is fine. Activate a Den. Copy a Stormseeker. Go to combat, pump up a Stormseeker, pump up the Den. I guess it doesn't really matter. Can block here, probably just trade here. No, we kind of just like have to attack them. They block here. So say they trade here, but then block here and only take 4. That's not really that good. Yeah, sure, whatever. I'll attack that. I'll attack that with the token. Sure. They go down to 5. Still in a pretty scary position here. We do get a Storm Charge Slasher, though, so that's great. Opponent has 2 cards. They can uptick on the Wandering Emperor, downtick, even make a token. See if this Reflections is enough to get us there. Opponent's going into the tank here. This Raffine is still a problem. It blocks good. It's got 4 toughness. I'm wondering if their 2 cards are removal spells or not. I wonder if opponents like tanking about whether or not they just want to make like a 2/2 samurai maybe. Gonna activate it. They are going to make a samurai. If they just pass, then they potentially just have another Wandering Emperor, right? Okay, just gonna say go here. So they'd have 3 mana. Okay, that seems kind of sketch. Let's just do this first, see what they do. Nothing. Activate this. Go to combat. Yeah, just pump these up. And I'm coming in. Get a token. See if this is going to be enough to kill our opponent. They can block 8 of the trample. Alright, and we got there in game 1. So, what are we going to sideboard? Okay. Raffine deck. Raffine deck. We want the vortexes. Is Gatekeeper good? I think Gatekeeper is actually fine because it gets rid of Underdog and also blocks it well. I think we could shave on a Magda. Don't know how good. Oh, the question is if Gatekeeper is better than the Blessed Bolt. I guess like the Gatekeeper could end up hurting us, so maybe we just don't even want it. I think that that's kind of like a close decision there, honestly. Let's see. Could even bring in Burn Down the House. Maybe we do that. Bring in a Burn Down. Couple of Gatekeepers. Let's try that. Not sure if that's correct, but we're going to try it. So let's hope for a good opening hand here. It's actually pretty decent. We're on the draw, so Really hoping to hit a third land here. Wow, that's actually pretty great. We're going to take 3 damage for it, but third land's a land. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and complain about actually hitting the card we needed there. Let's go get this Magda down. Opponent's a little bit of a slow start again. And Raffine is going to come down, but Raffine is dead. We're going to reveal our gold span, pay the mana for the ward, smash in with this Magda, get a treasure. Next turn we have the gold span that they know about. We don't even have to play it though. We can just play a Fabled and kind of just chill. Might still end playing the smashing as a tap land. We'll see what we draw. Okay, they do have mana up, so I believe that they just have a removal spell for our gold span, so we are not going to play into that. Instead, we're just going to play our Fabled for value here. Okay, they have Obscura, Interceptor. Gonna connive it back to our hand. Do we attack? If we attack, we can make the Fable again. And then gold span. I think that's fine, because if they want to trade, they trade. I mean, I don't really care. They can gain the life. Yeah, that's fine. We're like moving up in mana and just recasting the same card again. I mean, all they really got was... like, gaining the life is somewhat relevant, but considering that we're more of a version of Bigger Red, it doesn't potentially, like, hurt us up front as much. Like, red deck, I feel like once, you know, your opponent gains life, it's kind of... you know, that's kind of it. I actually don't think that we want to discard anything here. We're just gonna do... let's see, do this. Oh, but they have reach. Yeah, that's right. So we have to do this. Kill both of these cards. I'm just going to come in for damage, see if they trade the token away. I don't really care. We're just getting more treasure, more value. Fabled's going to flip next turn. Looks like they'll just take it, so it's even better for us here. And we still have 3 really powerful cards in our hand. We're going to get to another Kiki here, so that does hurt a little bit. I think they just have Vanishing Verse here, right? It has to be. Gonna go ahead and connive on the spider here, potentially put us down to 17. Would like to draw a Dragon's Fire here, would actually be pretty fantastic. Okay, Kaido. Coming down. So we hit a land. This card flips. They did tap out. So we're coming in for damage here, getting a couple more treasures. Yep, they'll go down to 16. We'll play Fabled. And another Fabled here. And we have 1 red left, but pretty much irrelevant there. We just have a lot of creatures on the battlefield now. Obviously, a meat hook would work out great for them. Looks like they could even pump up the Raffine out of meat hook range, maybe. So, we'll see if that's the play that they make. If they do, I mean, you know, they do it. Not going to sit here and play around cards, right? We didn't see meat hook game 1, so... not saying that they don't have it in their deck, but there's a possibility that they only play like fewer copies, or not sure if it's a card that they'd want to bring in against us. I mean, I guess it's good, but I think I'll trade here to save myself some damage. So we'll go ahead and take 3 here. And they just plus on the Kaido. They do have 4 cards. Could be a board wipe of some sort. Wow, they do have the meat hook. So we're going to lose some creatures here, unfortunately. They're going to gain some life. Go back up to 20. We do have Reckless Stormseeker, which is great. I don't really think we need to do that. I think we'll just activate the den. We have to attack the Kaido here. So it looks like they did have the meat hook, unfortunately. So that might end up being game. The Stormseeker does help a bit, but we are going to take a lot of damage off this Raffine every turn. And the fact that we weren't able to finish off the Kaido there does hurt. You could have made an argument for us to keep one of these, but we are going to have 2 Kiki-Jikis next turn, which feels good. I kind of have to look for another Fable Passage, or excuse me, meat hook here. Going to take 4, go down to 11. And Kaido's going to draw them a card. And another Lulth from our opponent here. Making 2 more spiders. We do draw the smashing, though, which is fantastic. So we'll get both of these Kikis here. Let's see here. Do we just kill the Lulth? Probably. We can kill Lulth and Kaido. But then we take, like, a lot of damage is the problem. Stormseeker can give a Reflection haste. And then get us another Stormseeker, but that doesn't really seem that productive. Kind of in a tough spot here. I think that we do have to kill the Planeswalkers, though. Just so that they don't get any more value from them. We might end up just dying to these spiders if they just attack out. The Raffine can go up to 7, depending on what cards they discard. Okay, Fairy Vandal here. Another Fairy Vandal. Still believe that they're just going to swing out with everybody here. Yep. We could block with a Reflection, but that also decreases our chance of winning the game, but we're definitely just forced to do it here. They're just going to pump up the Raffine to 7 power. They don't really have a reason not to. They also have 2 open mana, so they could potentially just have a Vanishing Verse for us. So yeah, I'm just going to take it here. It's just 10. We'll go down to 1. Don't really have a way to block this Raffine. Kind of just hoping to draw a Goldspan. Then we'll be able to copy it. Okay, yeah, I don't think that we can win from here. Opponent's at 20 life. And we don't have any way to block their flyers. So let's go and move on to game 3. Yeah, I mean, it could potentially just be time for the burn down the house. Like more of them. I don't think I care about the cemetery gatekeepers. We could bring back the Magdas. To smooth us out a little bit. Yeah, let's do this so we can stay on curve. Do we want the Abrade or even like a Flame Blessed Bolt against the underdog? Trying to think of what's better here. Yeah, let's go for the extra. Let's go for the extra removal, like extra burn in general. Like if they block with Raffine, we could potentially hit it for just a couple mana, you know? That way we don't necessarily have to take up a whole turn doing it. Yeah, we can definitely keep this hand. We'll be on the play. We've got a couple Gold Hounds into this Fable Mirror Breaker. We do have to watch out for a Meathook, though. We have to keep that in the back of our mind. So you don't want to go crazy with these Fables, but it is going to be nice to kind of ramp out here. And drawing our third land is also fantastic. And let's go get this Fable down. Might want to pitch this Gold Hound, honestly. And maybe a land if we draw one. Okay, they just have Underdog here. So yeah, let's get rid of both of these Gold Hounds. We don't really need them anymore. Drawing some lands is okay. Kind of in a rough spot. Just really hoping to hit real cards there. Just one more land, but we didn't. Do we want to attack? They're just going to block with the Underdog, and then if we play another Fable, we kind of open ourselves up to the Meathook. But we also get a redraw off of it. Alright, let's just go for it. Yeah, I'm just coming in. Let's get a treasure ramp a little bit. If we hit a gold span, we'll be able to play it next turn. We're definitely just going to discard some cards here, though, to the Fable. Okay, we draw another land. So let's go ahead and discard a couple mountains here to see if we can hit something. Okay, just hitting more lands here, unfortunately. We're going to attack with our Goblin here. Play a Den of the Bugbear tapped and pass the turn. Really hoping to not get blown out here by a Meathook, but I believe that they have it. I think that they have a Vanishing Verse, but maybe they're just like waiting to Meathook us here. Okay, they're just gonna Underdog, which is kind of strange. I'm completely okay with taking the damage here. Not really worried about that. And they'll get the redraw card, but they did take 2 damage for all this and take up a whole turn, and I'm completely okay with all that. We also hit a Leyline Tyrant, so I think I'm just going to play the Leyline Tyrant. We'll copy it with the Kiki and be able to come in for some damage here. And we'll actually just deal our opponent 3 damage here. If they have Meathook, it obviously is going to be quite difficult for us, considering that they're going to gain 3 life, go back up to 10. But even if they do Meathook, we have a Den of the Bugbear and the Leyline Tyrant. That's going to potentially be enough to just close out the game, because that'll put them back down to 2. They might just try to kill the Leyline Tyrant now, but then they also have 2 Reflections of Kiki-Jiki to deal with. Okay, they are going to Meathook for 2, so that does bring them back up to 10. We do hit a Facebreaker, though. That's actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and hit our opponent here for some damage, put them down to 2 life. The Leyline potentially just puts them down to 1. If we draw a land, we're able to activate the Den of the Bugbear and have this Dragon's Fire, which will be fantastic. So could also have 2 removal spells, which would be pretty devastating just because we'd only really be able to get them at 1. Mostly, but what I mean by that is by exile spell. So it looks like they do here. They're going to exile the Leyline Tyrant, go back up to 4. And yeah, I'm just going to cast this Gold Span. I feel like that's fine. It gives us mana if it gets targeted. Yeah, I'm going to attack the Wandering Emperor just in case. Okay, they have Fairy Vandal, but that's just dead. Alright. GG's. Got there with the dragon, and we got to kill their Wandering Emperor. Nice little match there for us. Got to showcase the deck a little bit there. We'll see you for the next match. Okay, going to be on the draw here. Opening hand is actually pretty good. We do have a curve and a removal spell, so let's go and see what our opponent's up to here. Starting off with a tap land, potentially a Raffine type deck, I believe. Okay, just another island here. See if they fear this Gold Span. Or, excuse me, Fabled. Let's kill this. Hit them for a damage. Just a lot better to kind of just kill this card. Don't want to see it. We drew another Dragon's Fire, which is nice. So it looks like they could end up just being like a tempo type deck here. They have 6 cards left. Okay, Drake, not really a crazy card. I'm actually just going to kill it. Of a spell you control. Yeah, this card's just dead. We're not going to let them draw cards. Not going to give them any threats here. You know, if they have like a bunch of target spells, we just kill 2 of their cards. So usually in a lot of decks like those, they kind of just have a smaller amount of creatures. We'll see if they keep playing them though. Alright, they do have a Twin Blade Geist here. They have 4 cards left. Okay, we hit another Magda. I think we play the Fabled. Do we just get rid of both of these Magdas? They're not really doing much. I think we'll keep the Magdas and we'll hold up the Dragon's Fire just in case. Because if they're playing some of these cards and they do target things, right? So we want to make sure we just kill the card that they're going to target. Storm Chaser Drake. So they're still going to get the draw if they just target this, even if we were to kill it with the Dragon's Fire, but at least it would be dead. And they didn't have an attack. We're actually going to discard both of these Magdas. They're not really doing anything for us. Okay, lands. Play the Storm Seeker. And I think we're still going to pump up the Storm Seeker here. Come in with both creatures, see how they block. We get another treasure token. They do have 4 cards left, which is a bit annoying. They're actually just going to take all the damage. And pretty sure I'm okay with that. Or do they have a bounce spell potentially? A Fading Hope maybe? They definitely have a stop here. Not sure what it could be. Yep, gonna go down to 13. We'll just pass. We have a Den of the Bugbear activation next turn, and let's say our Goblin doesn't get killed, bounced, anything like that, then we'll be able to get another treasure and cast a Dragon's Fire with activating the Den of the Bugbear. Our Fabled's also going to flip over, so it's going to be a card that they're going to have to deal with at some point. Or it could end up running away with the game by copying our Storm Seekers. Still have 4 cards here. They did make their 4th land drop. Not really too much information on what else they're doing here. Okay, Homestead Courage. Do we just wait for the flashback on that? We can still kill it with this Dragon's Fire. Okay. Virtuoso. It's a pretty decent card. And I kind of just want them to attack. They attack with both. This is a sorcery. I think we just kill that, right? And then they just have the Virtuoso. Could have an instant speed spell to target this, but still don't think I'm really caring about that much. Let's try to kill it. They have 3 cards left. 4, including the card in the graveyard that they can still cast. And they do have a protection spell. They just have a shield counter on it. So we are going to get to deal damage, knock the shield counter off, but the card does end up being protected. They scry to the bottom. We'll take 4 damage here, go down to 16. Can't copy. Well, actually, we can copy the Stormseeker, but we're not doing anything crazy yet. Oh, shoot. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that was actually gonna... We had a treasure, right? Like, we had a treasure, right? And the game chose the land. Ooh, that was rough, but we still got there. That was rough, but we still got there with the wide. So I think we just want all of our removal spells here against them. Bring in a couple of braids. Do we want the Burning Hands or the Burn Down the House? The Burning Hands does not kill the Ledger Shredder, but it's the only thing that it doesn't kill. What would we want to cut as well? Maybe like a Magda. Maybe a land? Or one of our 4-drop dragons. I really don't think we need the Burn Down the House. I could be wrong. We could just play 1 as insurance. Let's say we shave on these and just bring in a Burn Down the House just in case. Kind of just as insurance. Let's say they end up having like a couple creatures like that and it just feels a lot better just wipe the board, then we'll just do it. And yeah, I actually think this hand's great. We have a curve. We have a removal spell to kill an early threat like this Delver that they just cast. So we'll just go ahead and kill that really quickly here. Don't want that to flip and start dealing us damage. Probably play the Magda and then the Facebreaker. So it makes it a card that they have to kill. Ooh, Ledger Shredder's pretty good though. But we'll still get Magda down. Weren't going to be able to kill the Ledger Shredder anyways, just because the Flame Blessed Bolt only does 2 damage. They have 5 cards left in hand. Let's see if they have land drops here. They could just make this Ledger Shredder huge, Connive, deal us damage, but then we make a lot of treasures, even cast this Berserker next turn as well. Get more board presence, start dealing a lot of damage back. Okay, Virtuoso's a good blocker. Gonna take the 1 damage here. Okay, we drew Dragon Berserker. Still gonna play the Sekenzen here. And I think we're just gonna play Stormseeker and attack back our opponent. With the Stormseeker itself, they could end up having a Fading Hope here. So let's go to combat. Pump up the Stormseeker. And come in for 3. Don't know if there's any pump spells for blue mana. It could have like a -X to the face maybe, but I think we're just going to get in for 3 here. Yep. Could also use the Magna to block if they have like a bigger turn. That way it allows us to play our second Stormseeker and start to punch back for a lot more damage. Okay, so they have Slip Out. That's what it is. But this removes it, right? It phases out, yeah. So they weren't going to be able to kill our card on the block with that. But I think we are going to have to block the Virtuoso just because it's going to get huge. Oh, wow, they're going to make it unblockable. All right. So it looks like we're going to take a lot of damage here. That's 8 by itself. It's actually out of range from our removal spells now, too. Unless we hit like a dragon plus a dragon's fire, but we may end up being dead by then. Okay, they're going to connive, so they're going to make it bigger. So now we take 5, go down to 10. And they're probably just going to make it 6 powered here, I believe. Yep. They could also cast this Homestead Courage and make the Ledger Shredder 3 powered. Okay, they didn't. We drew a land. Does that really change anything? This card's unblockable. So we kind of just take this. There's no way for us to kill it or to deal them enough damage to win the game. So let's move on to game 3. Did we just bring in all of our removal? That just felt kind of rough. Burn down the house. Was not going to get there. Let's bring an extra spot removal here. Yeah, that was definitely just faster than we would have been able to cast our burn down the house, so no. Don't really think a third one's going to make a difference if we can't even get to casting it before we're dead. On the play is great. We do have 2 removal spells here, and we're on the play, so I actually think we're just going to keep it, even though we don't have any pressure until turn 3. It's not necessarily the worst thing, especially if we're able to kill some of their cards. They just mulliganed as well. Go ahead and get this mountain down. They played plains, so they don't have anything yet. This Dragon's Fire can kill the Ledger Shredder they're about to cast, or the Virtuoso. That's just dead. And I think we'll go... Let's kill our opponent. I'm not going to waste any time here, I think. I shouldn't really be trying to set up, you know? I think we just want to kill here. We can play the Fable next turn and give the token haste. They're not going to block it. They want to keep their creatures. I'm actually just going to say go and try to kill their card in response to them casting something on it. Because even if they phase it out, then they're actually not going to get it back till the beginning of their next turn. And then we can cast Stormseeker and pretty much have them dead. So they are going to go ahead and try to target it. Let's see if we can just kill it here. Do they have a protection spell? They might, but like I said, it'll phase it out and we'll be able to just come in with our creatures instead. It'll also make sure that it won't have any counters from this card specific. Well, I guess if it phases out, it still gets the counters, so... Okay, that's fine. They'll phase out their own card here. So they're going to connive. We're going to get another Reckless Stormseeker, and depending on what we draw, we're probably just going to pitch it to the Kiki Jiki. Yep, so let's just get rid of both of these cards. Okay, we did hit a gold span, so that's a little bit annoying, but we're going to pump up all of our cards here, smash in, put our opponent down to 4 life, and our Fabled's actually going to flip, and we have a gold span, so I actually think that we're doing pretty good right now. The game's definitely looking like it's in our favor. Okay, they're going to pump up the Virtuoso here. They could get it up pretty big, but they do have to get it up to, what, 10 power, which is a possibility. Let's see if they do it. They have 2 cards left. Okay, it can't be blocked. They have 1 card. They're going to pump it up with that. So it's going to get bigger. This is 12 damage. Or excuse me, it's more because they'll get to Connive, so we'll go down to 7. It can also block. But we have double gold span, and we kind of just have more attackers, so our opponent just scoops it up because they just didn't have an answer for us. And we'll pick up another victory here with mono red. Welcome back for the post-game wrap. So we did play a few games with this deck. It's actually a lot grindier than I thought it was going to be, and we didn't even get to do some of the crazy explosive things that you really could do with the deck, like go search for some dragons with the Magda. I think we did get close one game because we had a lot of treasures, but we actually didn't get to do it. Professional Facebreaker kind of just keeps the card just going and going, so I actually think there's a lot of power to this deck. I'm not necessarily sure about the Dragonkin Berserker. I think that that's a card that maybe you can cut one of and play other removal. Maybe we want the 4th Dragonfire in there, considering that there's a lot of games where we want that 4 toughness or more removal spell. So that could be something that maybe you could change as well. Definitely tell me what you think of the deck. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget, we do have a tournament this coming Sunday. It is free to play, a standard event. This will be a great deck to take there, or some of the other decks that we have videos for on the channel as well. Definitely check that out. But as always, I hope that you stay cheesy.